Hello and welcome to this SlimDevOps episode 52. It's all changing Toy Town. This could all fail. We'll see how we go. But if
We're
you're
doing it.
watching
We're
this on
doing it.
YouTube, you could be watching this on YouTube because we might be streaming to YouTube as well. So the first person that comments in our YouTube live chat will win some SlimAI swag. So we're multi-streaming these days because, we're streamed to one place when you can make it twice as hard. So sorry for the choppy music. We'll fix that next time round. We're learning as we go. New tricks for old dogs and all of that sort of thing. Hello, Pete. How you doing?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Yeah, this new setup we got. I don't know. I'm like not sure how to feel about it.
I also see that Jordan's on screen as well. So Jordan is here acting as our producer. So
Yeah.
hello to Jordan.
Jordan, welcome.
Right then. So Pete, what are we going to be taking a look at today?
Well, so we thought we'd do a little bit of like maybe a recap or kind of a debrief from our awesome AWS containers on the couch stream that I'm not sure how many people caught that on Wednesday. We were on with the AWS team who regularly streams to Twitch and YouTube and probably 17 other places or something like that. But it was a really great show. I've been watching that Containers from the Couch for a long time, and it was just super fun to be on there. So we thought we'd do sort of a little bit of a recap of that. I think one of the things that we weren't super clear about in that stream was that a lot of the features that we were showing, the new ones at least, are available mostly to our sort of core beta users and our design partners, so people who are using us for teams and organizations. This is sort of like a level higher than you get in the platform if you just sort of sign up through the Get Started link. So if people in the stream, in the audience, are interested in getting access to these features, or if you're interested in using SlimAI for with your team, love to talk to you. Drop into our Discord, ask us questions, or just ping me on Discord and we can get you set up with the kind of advanced access. I think most of the people, kind of the regulars, would already have access to some of these features, but just so you know, and I think we'll kind of focus a little bit more on some of the newer, cooler stuff in the SlimDevOps platform today. So
Yes, we are. So we're going to give a whole bunch of reasons why you're going to want to sign up and get involved, because we're going to show you all the behind the curtain stuff that we've been working on. And it's all to do with vulnerability assessments. I would just like to take this opportunity to say hello and welcome back to a bunch of regulars from the community. So hello, Musical Coder, Takov, Esme, hello, Tommy, how you doing? Danny, welcome back. I think I've covered everyone there. Welcome back, all of you. And Tommy Luco, you are a winner. I see you've commented on our YouTube live chat, so well done. Join the SlimAI Discord and ping me a message. If you're comfortable doing so, send me your shipping address and I will get some swag sent over to you. Well done, Tommy. I can see your messages. It's we're going to try and improve the chat stuff in the future. So, Pete, where should we? Should we just dive in and crack on with this?
Yeah, we can. I think.
Okay.
I think that's a great place to start. Also, just want to say hi to anybody who's new to us. I know that we met a bunch of people at AWS Summit, which was really really fun. And a couple people have been in the Discord and trying out the platform, giving us a lot of great feedback, which is awesome to see. And then if you kind of came to us through the AWS Containers from the Couch, we have a Discord. So if you go to Slim.AI, you'll find the Discord link. I think we just posted it in chat as well. Drop in, kind of a fun place to hang out and get to know us. And, you can learn about new features and talk to us about that. I am quite low res. I was making a joke about the 30 Rock high res thing before, so maybe I just made my res too low before. Let me see if I can work on that for you, Big Pod.
You do what you want to do in the meantime. So I suppose my first question is, Pete, where shall I start? Shall we start with, we've never really explained how connectors work in the platform, and I think that's going to be quite useful for today. So should we start there?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. And I think actually your connector is also set up with our kind of teams and organizations capability. So that might be a good thing to kind of just quickly highlight. There's not a ton of features and functionality there right now, but there are ways that you can like invite other people to the Slim platform. So let's say you're working like with the team or you want to share a container with somebody. We generate invite links and then you guys can kind of like work together in a single organization. Um, and maybe we even look a little bit at collections as well, which we haven't looked at in quite a long time. So,
Okay, I'm just going to move this off screen. It looks like my token has expired, so I'm just gonna just going to go and deal with that. How am I going to deal with this exactly? I'm going to have to click buttons up here. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so we're not so small.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
let's
it does look like
go.
my camera did not make it over unscathed into the new fancy streaming situation. So I'll have to work on that for next time. Um,
Yeah, we fully anticipated that this would all go horribly wrong. So true to form.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Uh,
so let's just get logged into GitHub.
Meanwhile, should we introduce Jordan? Jordan, do you have audio and all that kind of good stuff? Jordan is our newest, one of the newest members of Team Slim, I believe, right? And, how long have you been here now, Jordan?
Yeah, pretty new. I've been here a couple months. Hey everyone, thanks for letting me pop into the stream. I'm our content and social media manager out here. If you've enjoyed any of the posts in the past couple months, if you've enjoyed any of the memes, those came from my brain. So appreciate you guys for appreciating those. And I'll just kind of be on here monitoring things. But thanks for the welcome and happy to be here.
Yeah, Jordan's our chief meme officer. So,
it's it's good work if you can get it right. Then,
yeah.
so I'm now logged into the Slim SaaS platform, and I suppose do you want to just touch on organizations here briefly, Pete?
Sure. Yeah. I wonder if that's
So
like
I'll just
legible
draw
for
people's
people that
attention to the
small,
fact
but
that, I'm
yeah.
currently logged in as a typical user using the platform as an individual user. And you can see I've got these three options: home, favorites, and connectors. But I'm
Mhm.
going to join Peter's growth team, and just pay attention to what happens at the top of the screen there, and then we'll explain what's going on. So, Pete, what just happened? Why did it get a bunch more options appear in front of me?
So yeah, so for people who are part of a team or part of our kind of design partner program that we're sort of just getting off the ground, um, we have a bunch of other features and functionality. A lot of them are in beta, but they've been kind of like the more interesting ones that people have been asking us about. They're the ones that are kind of getting some more news and notoriety. Just some of them aren't quite ready for sort of our kind of GA release, so we're keeping them in beta. But if anybody is interested in getting access to these, we're happy to provide it as well, as long as you're willing to give us a little feedback on what's working, what's not. Um, but we see this as being eventually, where sort of teams would go. And so, actually, if you're in the Slim platform, I believe you already have access to and invite people to Slim links, so you can invite people to the platform, and that'll create an organization for you. And if you want access to these additional features, then just reach out to myself. Or if you go to slim.ai/solutions, there's a sign up form there. It's like the first link on our slim.ai homepage. And just shoot us a note and let us know, what your team is, what your kind of use case is, what you're trying to do. And we can get you hooked up. But once you get into kind of that side of the platform that Martin was showing, you have access to a lot more stuff. And some of the stuff that we've um, been showing in different demos, like AWS containers from the couch, and the case study that we did with Payment Works, and to wit, Martin is showing our connector screen right now. So
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is important. If I just go here, these are all of the registry connectors that we have on the platform, and we've never really explained what this is used for. So we did this stream with AWS a couple of days ago. So we connected up to our ECR registry for the purposes of that. So what you can do here is you can use the SlimAI platform as like Google for your container images. You can connect up all of your public and private registries, and then you can search across those registries and analyze and manipulate containers wherever they may live. And there's a couple of nice features that I'll demonstrate that you can do with this. I see Pete's off to go and polish his camera lens or something. So you can see all the popular things are here. If there's any registries that you're using that are not listed here, we're always interested in feedback. So in our Discord, we've got a feedback channel. If there's a registry that you're using that you feel needs to be on this list, then let us know. We want to know what you're using. And if I go back to this home screen, what you can see here is that we've got under this team that I joined, we've got a number of container registries connected here for both ECR. And I was looking at this app. You'll be familiar with this app. You've seen it 100 times before if you've been here before. But one of the things I was doing with this is in ECR, and I want to go and have a look at this container. So I can analyze this container directly from ECR. And it'll just take a moment. So this is probably similar to what you've seen before in terms of the Slim UI. You can see, all the usual stuff, the layer construction. We've got this overview tab. There's a bit more information in here about the facts and statistics about your container, including, the shells that are currently in that container image, any set UID, set GID, binaries and directories and what have you. There's the go deep into exploring your container on the file system, and the usual thing here, which is, a render of the Docker file. But then this is new. So Pete, should I be clicking on the vulnerabilities button now? No.
Yeah, I think so. People
I
were
think
asking. Oh,
because we deliberately staged a different container for this, didn't we? We started with this. We started with this container here, which we deliberately generated in a naive fashion. So we'll actually go and look at that one. It's a big container. So this container we built using Python latest. So we didn't do our usual container best practices. We were kind of demonstrating what happens when you just generate a container. Just make it work. I don't care.
yeah.
I don't care about the consequences.
Martin, I think people are maybe having a hard time seeing. I know we don't have our usual like scene set up in this new Twitch format yet. So is there a way to make the screen a little bit bigger for people to see on
I
share?
can zoom the text, but I don't think I can change the sizes of things.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So that's so we'll have a look at the vulnerabilities here. So like I say, this was a naively generated container image, and this is a new feature. So Pete, what are we looking at here?
Well, yeah. So we've started with adding vulnerability scanning to the platform. We're using just a couple of open source, kind of popular open source vulnerability scanners here, Trivy and Gripe. Trivy is supported by the Aquasec company, and Gripe is supported by the Anchor company. But they're open source projects, and so here you can do scans on your containers. Most people are being asked to do vulnerability scans on their containers anyway these days. Sometimes it happens on AWS or in your infrastructure somewhere. Sometimes it's happening on the developer's desktop. So, in this way, like when you're pulling your own containers into the SlimAI platform, you're getting really, really quick vulnerability information. You're getting it across a couple different vulnerability scanners. And we're actually going to be adding some more vulnerability scanners to this in the future. We're talking to a few other companies that have scanning tools available. And so meant to be sort of like a first view, one-stop shop to see what types of vulnerabilities are in your container and just like how important they are and how fixable they are. So it doesn't kind of catch you later on in the process, and you end up in this kind of break fix cycle of fixing vulnerabilities and having to come back and recode stuff. So yeah, that's what you're seeing here, and that's now available. Again, this is only available to kind of design partners or people with sort of beta access to this enhanced feature set. But I think it's pretty useful, especially when we start talking about optimization and the ability to make containers smaller and safer.
Yeah, and I'm looking here because our app is a Python application. I find this vulnerability interesting. This is a vulnerability in the mail cap module that is actually part of Python itself. So this is a vulnerability that exists within Python, for example. And as Pete says, you can see here the scanners that we're using. And you can also see what the statistics were by scan engine and the versions of those tools that we're using and how recently they were updated and all of that good stuff. So you can come in here and you can get a very comprehensive report. We also do some deduplication as well. So, you know, we match up the where there's common identifiers like CVEs or MVD IDs and what have you. So that's available in the for design partners and beta testers. If this is something you really want in your life, then head over to SlimAI/solutions and hit this contact us, and we will pay very close attention to what it is you want to be doing and help you get access to this. Now, this is obviously a disaster zone, 373 vulnerabilities, but it's to be expected because we kind of deliberately orchestrated this. So let's go and look at our image that we built on top of Ubuntu, which does adhere to not just container best practices, but also container security best practices. So let's go and take a look. Now, I should say that even though I recently gave a talk about 5 best container security practices, I made a bit of a mistake when I generated this image, as we are now about to see. So when I bring up these vulnerabilities, considering this is built with Ubuntu, it should be a fairly low vulnerability count. But in actual fact, we have 4 critical vulnerabilities and 9 high-risk vulnerabilities. Now, I know what I did wrong. I'll give people in chat a couple of moments to consider why it is a new image that I built based on Ubuntu has these vulnerabilities inside it. If anyone gets the right answer, you'll also be a swag winner. And hello to Ashish for joining us on YouTube. Welcome to the stream. Congratulations for being the second person to join us on our first YouTube live stream. We're on Twitch as well, but YouTube's new for us.
Way out of my element on this. I have to monitor 2 chats and I don't know. I'm confused. It's good though. Yeah.
Is SlimAI security audited? Mandy is asking. That's a good question. Security audit in what respect? Can you be a bit more, give us a bit more information on what you're looking for? The answer to your question is possibly not, but if we know what you're seeking, we can look into that. So again, if I look down this list of vulnerabilities, we'll find in here somewhere or other mail cap. So we can prove that we do indeed have this problem. So if I go and search inside this container for mail cap, here we have it. Here's the Python module here, and here is the bytecode of that Python module. So sure enough, you know, the scanner is correct. We do indeed have a vulnerable component in our container. I suppose it'd be quite nice if we could make that go away, Pete. Should we have a go at that?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's give it a shot.
So you'll be familiar with Docker Slim for those of you that have been around here before. Docker Slim is at the heart of our SaaS platform. So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually, it's Slim Demos, isn't it? We're going to create with this. This is a front end to Docker Slim to make it easier for people to drive and use and store configuration. So we have a server application. We are not going to, this is asking, do I want to include any specific files by default? I don't want to, as it happens. So we'll just move on. And if you have a Docker Compose, because you've got a multi-service container, for example, you can feed it Docker Compose files. Now, you'll know that this app is a very, very simple RESTful API implemented in Python and Flask. So no compose files for us. So we'll just go through the wizard, nothing to change on the environment. Let's just go. So this is now going to, and then it's pulled out what ports are exposed from the file. I've got the option to manually edit the configuration should I want to, but we don't want to do any of that. We just want a very quick run. And if we look here, you can see the logs. This is actually Docker Slim doing its thing behind the scenes in order to optimize, minify, what else do we call them? Shrink the container. So this is Docker Slim doing its business here. And in fact, it's finished already. So if we look, the container going in was 132 megabytes. The minified container is 26 megabytes, and it's a 5.2 times reduction in size. And as we've said, container size is an indicator of container quality, not just a vanity metric. So let's go and take a look at that Slim container. And as you can see, the Slim container has been deposited back in our ECR registry. So let's take a look at that. And we'll take a look at some of the diff information that's available. Where were we doing that before? Is it in the overview? I've forgotten.
I think if you go compare that image with the previous one that you
That's what I need
created.
to do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So for Minnie's question, we don't have like like a FedRAMP or SOX compliance type audits that we do. I mean, we do have a number of security protocols in the platform to make sure that data is anonymized and only available to those people that can see it, especially for those things coming from these private connectors, which are authenticated through API keys. But using the word top secret makes me think that it's some sort of government agency type of approach, and you guys might need maybe a little more security than we're quite ready to support at this time. So I'm happy to answer that question for you offline, though, if the security vulnerability scanning is something you want to explore or see a demo of in more depth, and we can talk with our engineers about what exactly our roadmap is for that type of security. We also get asked a lot, like, does this work for air-gapped environments or completely on-prem solutions, which we haven't done yet. We're working with talking to a couple partners, I would say, who might facilitate that for us. But we don't have that kind of capability right now. Mostly people are using things in the SaaS right now. So.
Yeah. And Mandy, I appreciate you may not want to divulge where and how you're storing your container images, so we can have that conversation offline to better understand, where your container images live at rest and what we might be able to do to facilitate access to those so you can use these tools. But happy to have a chat. So we've done the comparison, and what you'll see here is that it's comparing our app with our tags Jammy and Slim. So this is the fat container and the Slim container. And as you can see, this is coming from our ECR registry. This is the file system diff. Red is the stuff that got removed. You're all familiar with this. You've seen it before. But let's take a look at some of the metadata diffs. So this is nice. At a glance, you can see what the size reduction looks like. And I think the guys from AWS referred to this as defanging, the removal of shells and special permission files. So they loved that they could see these shells are now removed from the minified image, and they liked that these files with special permissions were now gone. And then, something we like to draw people's attention to is this duplicated file and size count. This is where you can make savings optimizing containers just by mopping up the mess in the layer construction process without actually removing anything at all. And I think we're going to be introducing a mode of operation in the platform where you can say, just optimize my container without throwing anything away, just clean up the garbage, basically. So there'll be sort of a light touch version of minification coming soon. The unified diff, I don't know if I want to look at that. I think this is what I want to look at, the vulnerabilities diff. So this UI is a work in progress. This is not how we intend to expose this, but it's a demonstration of what you can see. Here is the vulnerability count and details from the fat container, and then from the minified container, you can now see none whatsoever. So we're working on improving this and improving the accuracy of this as well, because in some cases, this won't be reporting some vulnerabilities that may still exist in the minified container. So there's a little bit of nuance to how we do that. Is there anything else you wanted to show on like the diffing or anything, Pete?
I don't think on the diffing. I don't know if people have questions or anything that they want to explore. Um, I was curious. I noticed that the Python container that we made right at the very end of the AWS stream was now available in our ECR repository because we had used the optimize tool on it right at the very end when we were kind of messing around. So we took that Python latest image and built sort of a naive container on it. And then we ran the optimization engine on that. And maybe it took a little bit for that to work. But now I'm kind of curious what happened with the diff of like what happens if you diff that one.
Okay.
If you click on that little compare button next to it, you should be able to kind of get over to that same screen that you were just at.
Yeah, so I'm
second
actually
one over.
going to do something else first.
Okay.
So I was going to demonstrate something else, which is the sort of power of the connected registry. So if I say copy image, this is currently sitting in my ECR registry. Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, I could do this. I could move it here. I'm going to connect it to copy it to my Slim. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to analyze this image. I'm going to do something much more useful. I'm going to analyze this image, and now I'm going to say copy. Oh, I can't do it, can I? Not from here. I can only go the other way. Okay. So the Slim container, I'm going to move to my Slim Cloud instance. So you can copy containers from one registry, one connected registry to another. And in fact, the way that we prepared for this Amazon demo is we built and published all of our container images in Docker Hub and then just copied them from Docker Hub to Amazon ECR. So we didn't have to push the same set of containers from our workstation multiple times to multiple registries. We pushed them once to, let's say, our primary registry and then replicated them from there to our other registries. And I think that's a really neat feature. Right. We're back here and we're now going to do a compare of this with its large original version.
You would have been able to do that if we had configured ahead of time a Docker Hub connection. So, I mean, I think maybe that's an interesting idea. I don't know if copy is a good use case back into like a public repo, like you could just push things up to a public repo. But if you had configured a private connection to both Docker Hub and to ECR, then you would be able to copy those images from one place to another, like with just the click of a button, like you were showing. So, but you can copy them from the public repository into your ECR repository. Let's say you, for some reason, wanted the Docker Hub version of Python latest to have a copy in your ECR repository. You could do that. So,
yeah, I'll show you something else you can do with this as well. So here we are, we're looking at the image metadata and we can see that this original container was 931 megabytes uncompressed and optimized. It comes down to 50. And then we can see the, the usual stuff with shells and set UID, set GID files and all of this other data. So this was quite the saving. And well, just as before, you get a steep decline in the vulnerabilities.
So it did remove most of those vulnerabilities. So I mean,
I actually
guess
know for sure there's one left. There's one vulnerability left in here, which at the moment we don't have the nuance to pull out in the minified security scanning. But as I say, these are features in beta and they're being worked on rapidly. So rapidly, in fact, that when I gave a presentation on this a few weeks ago, this feature didn't exist in the platform and now it does.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it last night actually, as because I was kind of like in my mind going over the conversations that we were having on AWS containers from the couch. And one of the main things that, the guys there asked us was about multi-stage builds.
Mhm.
And, we get that question a lot, right? Like, because a lot of people are using multi-stage builds. So you have the builder image, and then you have this, um, you know, uh, production image or final image, that you're just going to make as the final layer. I don't know if it's always obvious to people that this optimization process that Docker Slim runs actually is also creating a one layer image, right? So that's like what you're
Mhm.
getting at the end of it. So in a way, there is sort of a corollary there, right? That if you were using, even if you were naively using this Python latest image, right, what you're going to get at the end of the optimization process with either SlimAI or Docker Slim is going to be this single layer image with only what it needs in it. The only difference between that approach and a multi-stage build approach, I guess, is that in a multi-stage build, you're going to have those both in the Docker file. Maybe people who use multi-stage builds all the time will be able to tell me other reasons that those are important or useful. But you know, going like having a multi-stage build Docker container and then running that through optimization is a little overkill. You will get a few megabytes out of that optimization for sure. But this sort of shows that, hey, even if you did sort of the most naive thing, which is like use Python latest, just
Mhm.
slap an app in it and run it through, that's going to be a disaster from a size and vulnerability perspective. But if you run that through optimization, then you're going to wind up with this really small, really secure, lack of vulnerabilities image
Yeah.
at the end of it. So minimum kind of image. So
Yes, I mean, there's some interesting points to touch on there. So, for example, if we look here and we look at our app, we've packaged the same app
yeah.
using different container composition techniques. And this
Hmm.
distroless container here is, in fact, a multi stage build that uses distroless because,
Hmm.
by very virtue of it being distroless, it is a multi stage build. And you can see that of these original unoptimized containers, it is the smallest. So, you see often people saying, oh, well, fewer files, fewer packages in containers must be more secure. Now, if you remember, that Ubuntu container had 17
Hmm.
vulnerabilities in it. I don't think anyone identified what my mistake was, so I will fess up now. I forgot to build that new image without my layer caching. So consequently, when I built that container just yesterday, it was actually using a cached base image of Ubuntu from 3 weeks ago, which is why those vulnerabilities are present in that container. And had I dropped my caches, those vulnerabilities would not have been there. And this is actually a point in the presentation that I make about having two policies for container composition. So here's
Yeah.
our distroless container, which
Just
is
before
small.
we jump into that, Big Pod makes a comment that all the reason I use multi-stage Dockerfile were made redundant with Docker Slim. I was kind of wondering that myself, if that's the case with people. I'd be curious to hear what other people in the chat
Yeah.
have to say. And if people are joining new for the first time, we're Slim.AI, where we stream on this channel usually every Thursday, sometimes on Fridays. But say hi in the chat if you're new to this, and come join us in our Discord. We talk about containers and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. I remember hearing that multi-stage builds were meant to be a workaround originally by the Docker community, right? Because there wasn't really sort of this optimization capability that was out there more broadly. So, somebody came up with this builder pattern, and that
Mhm.
was sort of always meant to be a workaround. I don't know if that's apocryphal or if that story is true or not, but I'm wondering if people are working with multi-stage builds, what the advantages of them are, say, versus an optimization process like Docker Slim. But with that, go ahead, Martin. Sorry, you're diving into the distroless stream. So,
Yeah, so here we've got our distro list and we've got 29 vulnerabilities in here. And it begs the question, if this container is half the size of the Ubuntu container and therefore has fewer packages, why does it have twice the vulnerability count? And in fact, if I generate these images both with dropped caches, this distroless container will still come out with 20 something vulnerabilities. The Ubuntu container will not have any high or critical vulnerabilities at all. So the reason for that is that the commercial Linux vendors, Canonical, Red Hat, SUSE, they have SLAs and commitments to their users regarding um, uh, the security patching. And for high and critical vulnerabilities, all three of those organizations will patch high and critical vulnerabilities for the life cycle of that distro. Distroless is derived from Debian, which is a community-driven project and cannot make the same commitments in terms of security posture that the commercial distros can. And that's why you will find that some of these down here, how do we expose this? I'm going to need to. Some of these won't fix. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find one. Within the project, whoever is responsible for that package will fix it in like what will be the next release of the distro, not the next release of the package, but just say it's not going to get addressed in the current version. I hear the cleaners are back, Pete.
Right on time as always.
So it's interesting that you'll see some people suggest that you should use distroless, for example, because it's more secure, but actually you need to do some due diligence up front. And this is a great tool for doing that due diligence, looking at your base images, package your app in several different base images using different container composition techniques, and assess the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so Mandy says, yeah, for me, Docker Slim makes no sense to choose Alpine anymore. I'd choose Ubuntu because of the corporate backing, packages, and ecosystem, which is kind of what you're saying. I think you did that stream when Jammy first came out, and we looked at it, and there were no vulnerabilities in the Jammy base image, which I had, if I'm being honest, I'd never seen a base image before that didn't have any vulnerabilities. Even Alpine, which is very, very tiny, occasionally you find a couple in there. Alpine is maybe the one exception there, I guess, but just because there's really kind of nothing in it. So yeah, that was pretty cool to see. And, I think, it's developer's choice, right? At the end of the day, how you want to go about doing these, building your images and doing your development. But, Ubuntu is as popular as it is for good reason, right? That, people like the development environment. So, yeah.
Right then, is there anything else we want to show in the platform at all today, Pete, or shall we just wrap up on those points there?
I think we can wrap up. I'm curious about one thing. If you click on the collections tab, and I haven't been over there in a little bit, so we're in unknown territory here, but okay, so we just have favorites over here. I was wondering if collections I had made on my machine would show up for you in your organization. So I guess we haven't built that out yet. Maybe we'll do another stream next time on collections, because I think it's kind of a cool little underrepresented feature that we haven't talked about a ton. We sort of built it early on for a few of our early design partners like PaymentWorks who use it pretty extensively. Since we sort of left our coding on the stream back at when we were working on our Docker Compose, and you remember our photo app, and we were adding all these like, a database and all these different modules to our photo app, Nginx and all of that. That works really well in collections. And so maybe, we'll do a teaser for our next stream where we can kind of walk through how collections work, because it's got a cool like CLI that goes alongside of it. So you can do some command line stuff, and then that talks to the SaaS, and that helps you manage your images. And that'll be a nice segue kind of from our Python photo app into some more development work that I think we want to be doing. When we introduce Stephen, who is going to be coming on the stream with us in the next
yes, indeed,
couple weeks. So
Pete just mentioned the Slim CLI. Here it is here. This is not Docker Slim. This is a new tool for talking to the Slim SaaS platform. So stuff for us to explain in the future, and also there for early adopters, beta users, design partners. So if you want to start integrating at an API level with the Slim SaaS platform, all of that is possible too. And just a quick reminder, or new information for those of you that didn't know, our Docker extension for SlimAI has been updated. I think 2 days ago there was a new version released. So if you head into the extension marketplace in Docker Desktop, you'll be able to find SlimAI. You can get access to most of the capabilities of the platform locally. So if you want to scan, compare, and analyze your containers, you can do all of that stuff locally without having to push things up to a registry somewhere. It doesn't have the full feature set of the platform of the SaaS platform yet, but more features are being added incrementally. So this is a great way if you're using Docker Desktop to get on board with all of this stuff. Is Slim CLI available in DebGet? Yeah, working on that, Mandy, and also Docker Slim as well. I don't think I haven't considered it. And for the benefit of Pete and Jordan, I created a project a couple of months ago that makes it easier to install software that sits outside of the Debian and Ubuntu repositories, and it turns out it's been proven quite popular. And I'm actually working on adding Docker Slim to that and the Slim client in due course as well, but not anytime soon.
Yes,
right, I'm going to tuck my
think the
screen
team
away.
is working on a pretty major update to the Slim CLI client. So maybe after that, right now it's only available for design partners, and the use case for it is mostly like CI/CD integrations, people who are looking to build, things in Jenkins or Circle CI or GitLab that kind of like keep a record of every time a build happens, and then you sort of store some information into the Slim platform about a record of your containers. That's kind of how people are using it right now. So I think we're going to extend the use case quite a bit with the new CLI that the team's working on. So maybe we can get Eric or someone on our team to come show that off whenever it's ready. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Cool.
Right, Pete, I know that you've got stuff to do in about 10 minutes. So shall we put a bow on this?
I think so. Yeah. So I think new streaming platform, we're gonna get a hold of it. We're gonna make it work. I feel like I'm sitting further back than I need to be, though it does look like my resolution improved a little bit. Gonna need to get some skin moisturizer work done before I get too much resolution, but so we'll work on that. But welcome to anybody who joined us on YouTube for the first time for us streaming on YouTube. As always, thanks to everybody on Twitch. It's always great to see everybody. I see Yannick's in chat now. Hi, Yannick. Haven't seen you in a long time. So, but yeah, drop into our Discord, say hi, stick with us, and we'll be back to our usual hijinks and high production values, and no technical difficulties ever on future streams, I'm sure. So
I'm pretty sure that was a lie. I could hear the lie detector going off. And also, what you need, Pete, is you need a Black Pro mist filter for your camera, like what I have. And that's what gives me my baby soft complexion. It's optical. It's an optical enhancement. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So just do it on that end. I was gonna start shaving or something, but I don't want to do that.
Oh no.
So.
Oh no. Right then. Okay. Thank you all very much for coming, everyone. If anyone has any questions about any of the stuff we discussed, then come and join us in our Discord. Ask your questions. We'll be happy to answer them. And if you want to get in early with some of this stuff, come and speak to us. We'll be more than happy to help you get enabled with all of this good stuff we're working on. So we all done here, Jordan, Pete, anything else? Or we're solid, right? Okay. So it is time for the three of us to mute our microphones, apparently. And I'm going to click a button here. Thank you all for coming, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye for now.